Good morning. Um, so I've been thinking I'm probably gonna do a video in the afternoon about how I feel. You know, probably motivational or something like that. You call it motivational, whatever you want to call it. But it's pretty much after the day. After the day is done, now I can kind of sit back and say, okay, what did I learn about myself today, and what makes me grow into a better person. And so that's one thing. Uh, so, uh, but I think in the morning I want to do, you know, music or current events or whatever the case may be or whatever comes to my mind. And, you know, so I want to talk about, tonight the NBA comes back. I'm a sports guy, I love sports. So tonight the NBA comes back after a short layoff, but it is what it is. Um, and um, I think tonight KD plays for the first time in Brooklyn. That's gonna be a pretty cool thing to see. But for the most part, you know, outside of the West, like the Clippers and the Lakers, Denver, I'm trying to continue to think about who the hell could come out of the East. I don't see anybody coming out of the East like talking about it. Like everybody in the East got their own like problems and restrictions. I don't know who could come out of the East. Maybe if KD's healthy enough to really play hard. Like I'm assuming Brooklyn. I got Brooklyn, I guess. But that's because they actually have more of a structure of a team than a lot of these other teams. Like KD's the star. Like we know KD's gonna go out there and he gonna ball his ass off, especially if he's healthy. And then you got Karis LeVert, you got Spencer Dinwiddie, you got Jared Allen, you got some pieces in Brooklyn, man, that has already been fucking great. Before Kyrie and KD even got there. So yeah, I don't know what's coming out of the East. That's a tricky ass one. I always like Boston. I think Boston is a dope team. I don't know if it's because of their youth or just because they need an extra fucking star. I don't know. And Jason Tatum's a star. Don't get it twisted. But I don't know. You might need another star. You might need like Kemba's cool. Kemba's an all-star. He's not a I'm gonna win a championship with you type of caliber star. That's like he could be your fourth, reliable player. Jalen Brown is like third, maybe, but Jason Tatum is a star. But you need that too. You need that second guy that could come in, take over the game if Jason Tatum's having a bad shooting game or something like that. And I don't think that's Jalen Brown, and I don't think that's Kemba. I think you need another star. I think you need another two. You need a two. You need a guy that could come in, take over the game, do what Jason Tatum does, shut it down. That's why I think, to be honest with you, I think they should have went to go get James Harden. I think Boston needs to go get James Harden. They need to trade Kemba and Jalen Brown and any assets they got. Trade them to Houston, get James Harden, bring him to Boston, and voila. Look, Boston got a two, a guy that could take over the game when Jason Tatum is not having a good game. And then you got somebody, and then Houston doesn't have to automatically rebuild. Right out the gate, Kemba Walker kind of play with John Wall. John Wall, kind of be the two. Kemba could be the one, or whatever the case may be with that. And Jalen Brown could be your small forward. And you got DeMarcus Cousins as a center. So I think Boston should trade for James Harden. That's just my opinion. I think that would have been a better idea. James Harden talking about I want to go to like Brooklyn or Philly or shit like that. Nigga, you need to go to Boston. Boston's actually got a structure in place that can actually help you get to your goals. So that's my feel on that shit. If you're gonna keep asking for trades, you want to go team up with niggas that you're gonna have to literally learn. Like it's stupid. Don't go to Brooklyn. Why would you go to Brooklyn? That makes no sense. You and Kyrie can't even be on the same court without having the ball in y'all hands. How the fuck y'all gonna be on the same team? Like that makes no sense. Doesn't need to hit no there. That shit. But that's why I would. If I was James Harden, I'd put Boston at the top of my list. Not even a conversation. Not even a conversation. Like give me that. I think MVP this year in the NBA is going to be either Luka Doncic, or I got three: Luka, Dame, Dame Dollar, or dark horse, if they're good and if they can make some noise, Devin Booker. I think that Chris Paul is going to give Devin Booker a lot of opportunities to step up. And if he could just play in the system of defense, Phoenix is they're the young Titans, man. They can do some things. I think, though, because everybody now is so on Phoenix, it might be a little hard for them because, like, when they went in that bubble, nobody knew the fuck they were going to be. They were like, all right, Phoenix coming to the bubble, who gives a fuck? And they won 8 consecutive games, and you're like, oh, shit, wait a minute. These motherfuckers are good. And it just, now you add Chris Paul. Now you adding pieces to that team. It's like, all right, the West is open. Let's get it going. Let's see what happens. So the West is kind of open in that bottom half because Houston's not going to be in it probably. Houston's not going to probably be in it. Who else? OKC's not going to be in it. I mean, maybe the teams that you already know, like the Lakers, Clippers, Denver, I'm trying to think, Utah. Like those teams, those caliber teams that you kind of already figure out, like, they're going to be there. Other than those teams, I don't think anybody else is going to, like, the West is pretty damn much open. Which brings me to my city, my hometown, New Orleans. I think this might be the start of a playoff creation. I think we can get to the playoffs this year with Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and Zion and Jackson Hayes, and we got enough. But then you go get Eric Bledsoe, and then you go get Steven Adams. The Pelicans could do it, man. I think that was a great idea to trade Drew. I respect Drew a lot. I think he's a great player, but I think that the time has passed. I think it's time to give Lonzo that chance to see what he could do, and you bring in a guy like Eric Bledsoe, who's also small in stature, and he's not like Drew. Drew and Lonzo kind of were both two big guards that neither one really truly plays the one like that. Lonzo could be a 2 if you really want him to be a 2. You can easily give him the 2 and tell him to play 2, and Eric Bledsoe could come in and play 1. And I think that's pretty much I think how that's going to play out. Like I said, Jackson Hayes, and then Steven Adams is a you don't run up against that motherfucker. He'll hit the fuck out you. They look at you like you did something wrong. But I think the Pelicans can make it. In the East again, I think Luka, Dame, Devin Booker, and I guess another dark horse is kind of like Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler could do it if Miami could kind of figure out themselves and get back into the conversation of playoffs, and maybe even getting that top 3 in the East behind either Milwaukee or Brooklyn. You gotta just take one of those teams out. I think if Miami gets back to that position, I think he gets the nod. Also Pascal Siakam, I think he's pretty cool. I think he's a pretty dope player. I think Toronto being in Tampa this year is gonna be pretty interesting because now it's not all eyes on Canada. They're in the country now, so you really gonna have to hone in on playing these guys. So that's one. Rookie of the year, LaMelo, I think. LaMelo, Cole Anthony. I think one of those two are gonna be rookie of the year. Because they're the guards and they're gonna have the ball in their hands the most. I think LaMelo, and the thing about it is, Cole Anthony's got to get his Orlando Magic at least to the top tier of the Eastern Conference. LaMelo just got to get the Charlotte Hornets in the goddamn playoffs. That's it. And if he gets them in the playoffs with the year that he could have with this short-ass schedule, he can easily get them to the playoffs. So that's my rookie of the year. One of those two. One of the two guards, man. Defensive player of the year, they always get that shit to a big guy. So I'm going to say Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy's going to win it again. Coach of the year, it's going to get interesting. I think Coach of the year is going to be an interesting one because, like I said, if Charlotte gets into the playoffs, now you kind of have to look at Charlotte and be like, well, Charlotte got into the playoffs with, some piece of paper and, like, a hope and a dream. Like, Charlotte's in it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Stan Van Gundy come to New Orleans again and kind of get their shit right and kind of get them in the playoffs and get them a high seed. Because I say, like, the West is kind of open. After Dallas, the Lakers, the Clippers, Denver, maybe even Utah, Portland, Sacramento, Phoenix, all those teams, they're playing for the 7, 8, maybe 6, 7, 8 positions. You know, and to be honest with you, if Luka don't do what Luka do early in the season, Dallas might be fighting for those positions too. So you never know. I don't think Houston's gonna make it. I think they're gonna eventually have to trade James Harden. I don't see James Harden being happy and doing the right thing and staying, not saying the right thing. Let me take that back. I don't see James Harden staying in Houston and trying to be happy. Like, that shit just is not gonna work. The reason why he's playing right now is because he needs people to understand, like, I am a team player. I do this shit for real. But once he get his trade, it's over. Nobody gives a fuck. And that's the thing. I think that for me, like I said, I would personally probably trade James Harden to Boston. That's just me. I would trade him to Boston. Give me Kimba. Give me Jaylen Brown. Give me couple picks. You can have James Harden. You can have him. I don't know how Boston's not in this conversation. And maybe Boston's just like, we got too many assets. We're not giving up shit. But that's more. I gotta be more Boston than it is Houston, because that is the first person I'm calling if James Harden's like, y'all want to get traded, and it's not in the Western Conference. That's the first team I'm calling. It's Boston. Like, y'all got enough. Y'all got Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. Y'all shown us that y'all can win these games. Y'all can play. We're not giving you Jason Tatum. That's pretty obvious. So you could have Jaylen Brown and you could have Kemba Walker, and that's the end of that. So yeah. So who is gonna be the NBA champion? Who the fuck knows? I'm going to go Lakers if they play somebody other than maybe Philly or Brooklyn. I'm going to say Brooklyn. If the Lakers play Brooklyn, I think KD, Kyrie, and that team kind of get the Lakers a little bit, because they got depth and they got height too. But any other team but if the Lakers don't lose in the Western Conference to Denver or maybe even the Clippers, if the Clippers could get there, I don't trust the Clippers. I don't trust them bitches at all. I ain't trust them bitches last year, to be honest with you. But yeah, I would say, and don't be surprised if Dallas makes some noise and maybe even get into the Western Conference Finals to meet the Lakers. Like, don't be surprised. Luka, Chris Staffs, like, them dudes can do it. So that's my predictions. Lakers pretty much gonna probably win the NBA Finals if it's not Brooklyn. Or if it's not Boston, they trade for James Harden. But other than that, those are the teams. Those are the guys. So my MVP, I think it's gonna either be Dame, Luka, Devin Booker, or Jimmy Butler. Rookie of the year is either gonna be LaMelo Ball or Karl Anthony. Coach of the year, Stan Van Gundy, or whoever coaches Charlotte. Defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. Just pretty obvious. And don't be surprised if Atlanta makes some fucking noise with Trae Young and them. Like, them dudes are coming. Like, I think they finally got their shit right. Them dudes are coming. Don't be surprised. So, yeah. Can't wait for the NBA season to start off. And hopefully I'll talk to you guys later today.